Battlefield 5 single player gameplay and impressions. We haven't seen much of this yet apart from a trailer a couple of days ago, but I was at an event a few weeks back in London and I got to play through the prologue and 3 main war stories. That's the footage that you're seeing now, although I won't be including any spoilers or cutscenes, so don't worry about that. So at launch of the game we've got the prologue, Nordlyse, Under No Flag and Tyrellur. The prologue lasted around 10 minutes, so I wouldn't really class that as a proper war story, and it hopped around different soldiers' perspectives during the Second World War. So you go from a nighttime raid in Norway to a tiger tank in the desert to a sniper nest to an airplane to a bridge assault, etc. So it goes all over the world with Mark Strong narrating it. It was okay, just not really engaging, to be honest with you. The air battle part in particular was very underwhelming. The other 3 missions follow different characters as they deal with their own problems and embark on missions during the war. I'll spare you the story details, but you'll be skiing, throwing knives at people, raiding airfields and attacking German defensive positions in France. Obviously, it all looks and sounds amazing, there's no doubting that, but I found the gameplay unengaging and I'm gonna say boring at times. I didn't like it. Some of the stories DICE are portraying here are based on real events that could be very exciting, but if you don't have the gameplay to back it up, that doesn't matter. And when you barely spend 30 to 40 minutes with the characters, it's difficult to care about them or feel any emotional attachment. What do I mean by this? Well, in terms of gameplay, which is the most important thing in any video game campaign, DICE are still going for the let's put multiplayer Battlefield into single player Battlefield. This trend in their single player started to creep its way in with BF4 and it just doesn't work in my opinion. The artificial intelligence they've got simply isn't good enough. The levels are way too open with little to no direction of available weapons or options to the player. And the sections where you stay there and you defend positions from waves of enemies. It feels like a single player campaign from 10 years ago with no real substance or consequence or reward, and I think that the gaming audience in general has moved away from this type of single player gameplay now. So you've got whack-a-mole standard enemies that don't really flank you or challenge you very often. The only interesting thing I saw them do is revive each other a couple of times. Occasionally a bigger enemy that's got a flamethrower and walks directly at you, but can miraculously take 100 bullets from a Thompson submachine gun. That doesn't really make much sense considering the context. There was a few cool moments like the skiing, that was fun, and throwing knives at people. I hope the skis come to multiplayer eventually, but most of it is pretty boring, going from A to B to C, driving across the ice in a truck for 50 seconds and shooting at red barrels. Yes, there are red barrels in this that explode. This game is set in World War II. Where is the gravitas? Where is the drama? It's simply not there in what's available at launch. I just wish that DICE would go back to the drawing board with this and instead develop a finely crafted 5 to 6 hour long single player campaign. Titanfall 2 is a beautiful modern example of that. After all, this is a shooter. I'm okay with it being linear and scripted if it's fun and challenging, and I believe that they can do it too. Just look at how fun and memorable the campaign in Battlefield 3 was. And the Frostbite engine is incredible. It's very diverse and there's a real opportunity there. Craft a story where I stay with the same characters and the gameplay beats are always changing and keeping me engaged and challenged. The style they've gone for here doesn't do that at all. In 2 of the main war stories, the gameplay just ends up being very similar. Go to a point, get your binoculars out, tag all the enemies, kill all the enemies, move on to the next point, put a bomb on a thing, kill all the enemies, move on to the next point. The alternative is just to do away with single player entirely and focus on multiplayer for the mainline Battlefield games. Multiplayer is what Battlefield is. That's what the overwhelming majority of the players want. You can't put the unpredictable nature and sandbox of Battlefield multiplayer into a single player campaign. The war stories format does not work well for me, and neither does this type of gameplay. Will some people enjoy this campaign? Yes, no doubt. I will play through it too on release, but for me, the gameplay wasn't fun, I was quite bored at times, and some of the dialogue, especially in the Under No Flag mission, was awkward and unnatural. And really on launch, there's barely any single player content here anyway. It's a 10-minute prologue and 3 story missions. The most interesting looking called The Last Tiger, where you play as a German tank commander, questioning his decisions and loyalty. And that won't be out until December sadly, but it will be free. In conclusion, am I being too harsh here? I don't think I am. I have to be honest and say that I just didn't like it, and there's no replayability here either. I want DICE to do better, and I know and I believe that they can, but in my opinion their single player campaign design needs a big overhaul and a shake up before it gets good and gamers start to take it seriously. So there it is. I've got some more highlights and footage to roll now. There are some new guns in here too that I'm sure we'll get to see in multiplayer, including the silenced British carbine and the Kar 98 as well as the Thompson. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, a dislike if you didn't, and subscribe for more. With that said, enjoy the rest of the footage guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
That's a Stuka incoming. Them the planes were meant to blow up? Yeah, that's them all right. Head down. You know the drill.
Have you been here before? Do you know where we're going?
Oh yeah, I come here all the time. I bring the missus along sometimes.
So that's a no then, is it? You don't know where we're going?
Listen, this job requires a certain amount of think on your feet. Do you understand?
Right. Yeah. Great.
Right then. Now get on them binoculars and tell me what you see.
Germans. On the other ridge there. Looks like lots of rubbish. Maybe an alarm.
Yeah, probably a radio too. Now it's going to be best to watch out for both because we don't need more enemies showing up.
See some barrels over there.
Yeah, I don't want to get too near them if things get interesting.
Nothing to see here, Fritz.
All right, you boxer bolts. Let's see what we've got.
De leter etter oss. Det er klart.
Skynd deg! Det kommer noen! Det kommer flere. Vi må dra.
Nei, vi må finne ut hvor de oppbevarer.
Dokumentene nevnte nå under bakken.
Maintenez la position! N'y arriverez pas! J'en peux plus!
Arrive. Une traînée dans le ciel bleu. Ce pilote sera récompensé. Et nous, non. Mais on ne le sait pas encore. À ce moment-là, on avait juste envie de remercier cet inconnu et son courage.
Fleisch!
Denne. Nydelig.